Amen. 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 Thank you for this opening prayer. Please, as you enter into the room, please kindly mute yourselves if you know you're not talking, please, so that we hear ourselves. Thank you very much. So please, I would like to invite the national chairperson to give us an opening remark before we proceed, and goodwill messages will come next. If you are ready for goodwill messages, please just signify by raising your hand on the chat box. Thank you very much. Madam Chairperson, sir, Emma, please kindly give us an opening remark for this precious occasion. Madam Chairperson, ma, please, are you online?
Unmute myself. Sorry. I was talking. I forgot to unmute myself. Sorry, I've unmuted myself.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yes. So I said thank you, my NC. Thank you, my Governing Council Chairperson, Professor Josephine. I don't know if she's online yet. And then our leaders in the association and our guest speakers for today, who I notice are also our leaders in the association. I want to thank every one of us for making time out, for spending our data for us to be together this evening. The issue is the beginning of the 16 days of activism. At the beginning like this, many of us have always been excited for this opportunity. And the theme for this year is Unite, Invest to prevent violence against women and girls. Invest in the programs that will empower the girls. Invest in the women, invest in the girls, invest in the lives of women, so that the world will be a better place. Invest to end violence against women. We use this opportunity to call on government to invest in women's programs. You know, oftentimes women or community organizations will struggle to do programs, but we are calling on government to invest in our programs so that it will be better. We'll be able to attain and get to zero tolerance for gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is like we are not working. It's like women group are not working. Gender-focused organizations is like we are not working, but we are working. And I want to believe that there is progress, and gradually we will get to zero tolerance for gender-based violence. So I want to thank every one of us. The program, of course, is to create awareness and to increase our voices. So I want to appreciate my NC for planning this event, and for others that have worked tirelessly, that have made papers that are going to present to us today. We are all going to listen and we will make our contributions. Let's stay till the end. Let's follow. Despite, like in my end here, we have thunderstorm here, but one has to try to stay till the end. Please, I want to beg all of us to stay till the end. So once again, I want to thank everyone for making time for this meeting. And I want to believe that as we discuss, there will be impact and we will get to the position we are looking for, which is zero tolerance for gender-based violence. So once again, thank everyone for listening. Thank you.
Yes, a round of applause for National Chairperson.
Thank you. How are we going to clap now? Thank you.
Yes, please, anyone with goodwill messages, now is the time for you to show your hands before we continue. Anyone ready to give us a goodwill message? Please signify on the chat so that we can call you. Thank you. It's like most people have not still joined up. Network is really dealing with us today. Okay, someone, okay. Is someone giving us a goodwill message? Oh, I think they are yet to come in. Okay, so let me just go ahead gradually. Maybe they will come up as I finish before I finish my talk. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, welcome to today's crucial panel discussion termed Unite, Invest to Prevent Violence Against Women and Girls. I'm honored to serve as your moderator for this imperative dialogue. Today, we have 4 distinguished panelists, each bringing unique expertise and insights to shed light on the multifaceted aspects of preventing violence against women and girls. Together, we aim to explore strategies, share experiences, and discuss the critical importance of unity and investment in fostering a safer world for all. Without further ado, let me introduce our esteemed panelists. Our first panelist is Ambassador RONKE OJEIKERE, a passionate women's rights advocate with a successful history in promoting gender equality. As a women's rights advocate at Sotawaka, she has developed campaigns, organized events, and advocated for policy changes at local, state, and national levels. In the role of community outreach coordinating, she has facilitated women's empowerment workshops, collaborated with local organizations, and established support networks. She holds a bachelor's in criminal justice administration from Temple University and has proven skills in advocacy, leadership, research, and community engagement. Achievements include lobbying for gender equality policies, recognition as a keynote speaker, and receiving awards for NGO partnership, public administration, and grassroots initiative. Welcome, Ma. The panelist 2, Dr. ADEFUNKE EKINE, is a deputy director at Taisolari University of Education, Nigeria, and an associate professor of early childhood education. She's a 2013 Echidna Global Scholar and top 100 global thinker for her work in African education. Currently, she serves as the cluster head for Childhood Education International USA. With over 25 years of teaching experience, she founded Youth Care Development and Empowerment Initiative, securing grants for innovative girls' education programs. Dr. EKINE holds a Ph.D. and Master's in Early Childhood Education and is well-traveled, presenting at conferences and contributing to over 35 publications. Her diverse roles include serving on academic committees, editing JECAN's journal, and leading her university's Rotary Club. Hobbies include networking and event planning. Panelist 3 is Chief Izochukwu Agu Remi. He is a dedicated professional with extensive experience in addressing gender-based violence, serving as the head of intervention and assistant state director at Behind Bars Human Rights Foundation in Rivers State. He leads the response team on gender-based violence and holds a gold membership with the Red Cross Rivers State chapter, showcasing his commitment to humanitarian efforts. Additionally, he holds the position of head of intervention for the Together to Win Foundation for the Deprived, emphasizing his passion for social causes and community welfare. With a diverse background in human rights, advocacy, and community service, Chief Agu Remi is a proactive leader in fostering positive change. And finally, our last panelist is none other than Dr. Bright ONYI, a medical doctor with over 2 decades of experience in social development. He serves as the project director for the Indomitable Youth Organization and holds roles such as South-South Zonal Coordinator for CSHAN, Chairman of the Civil Society Observatory Group on Administration of Criminal Justice Law in Edo State, and convener for Rally for Peaceful Election. He is a strong advocate for vulnerable groups. Dr. ONOVIOKUKOR is actively involved in various civil society movements, demonstrating a commitment to societal well-being. Now, their collective wisdom promises to enrich our understanding and inspire actionable initiatives towards a future free from gender-based violence and all forms of gender-based violence. So let the discussion begin as we unite our efforts and invest in our shared commitment to prevent violence against women and girls. Thank you very much. So with the first panelist, she has the floor. Is she online? Can we have the first panelist, please? Ambassador RONKE. Oh, I think she has gone out. Please, IT, can you share her slide? Let's see. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think our first panelist has some issues that she has been called to at the law enforcement agencies right about now. So please permit me, let me give her presentation so that we know what she has for us today. So let me take her presentation on her behalf, please. So she will be talking on investment in preventing, what was that? Okay. The theme we said is invest in preventing violence against women and girls. She will be talking on understanding she's going to be talking on the understanding the role of investments. Next slide. So investments plays a pivotal role in addressing the root causes of violence against women and girls by enabling comprehensive prevention strategies. Adequate funding supports educational programs, economic opportunities, and community initiatives that empower women. It fosters awareness campaign, legal reforms, and shelters for survivors. By investing in these areas, society can create a robust framework to challenge gender-based violence, promoting equality and dismantling ingrained societal norms that perpetuate harm. Financial support is integral to building a safer, more equitable world for women and girls, breaking the circle of violence and fostering sustainable change. Education in shaping attitudes through knowledge. Now, by investing in education programs and fostering gender sensitivity and inclusivity is pivotal for reshaping societal norms. These initiatives empower individuals with the awareness and understanding needed to challenge stereotypes and biases. By cultivating an environment that values diversity, education becomes a catalyst for dismantling ingrained gender norms. It nurtures empathy, breaks down barriers, and promotes equal opportunities. Ultimately, a society educated in gender inclusivity lays the foundation for a more equitable and harmonious future where individuals are valued for their abilities rather than constrained by traditional rules. Understanding economic empowerment, which is breaking chains through financial independence. Investment plays a pivotal role in fostering economic opportunities, providing vocational training, and expanding access to credit, thereby diminishing vulnerability to violence. Financial injections into communities stimulate job creation, empowering individuals with sustainable livelihoods. Vocational training linked to these investments equips people with skills enhancing employability. Concurrently, accessible credits channels enable entrepreneurship and economic independence. By addressing economic precarity, investment becomes a potent tool in reducing societal vulnerability to violence, creating a foundation for stable, empowered communities. Next, please. When we talk of legal frameworks, by empowering justice, we say that investments in reinforcing legal frameworks and training for law enforcement and judicial personnel are pivotal for a just society. Adequate resources ensure a robust legal system, enhancing public trust. Training empowers officials to navigate complex legal landscapes, reducing errors and promoting fair enforcement. I can see that this is usually our problem in our country, and I really pray that we'll be able to go past this barrier. Now, with strengthened laws, it will deter crime, fostering a safer environment. Moreover, this investment aids in adapting to evolving challenges such as cybercrime and transnational threats. Overall, it safeguards the rule of law, a cornerstone of democratic societies, fostering a climate where citizens, investors, and businesses can thrive with confidence. And then, understanding healthcare, recovery, and resilience. We say that healthcare system, if we invest in healthcare systems that offer holistic support for survivors, it will be very, very important. Comprehensive care addressing both physical and mental health needs not only accelerates recovery, but also fosters long-term well-being. Mental health services play a pivotal role, aiding survivors in overcoming trauma and building resilience. Neglecting either aspect jeopardizes the overall healing process. By prioritizing such comprehensive support, societies not only uplift survivors, but also reduce the long-term societal burden associated with untreated physical and mental health issues. It's an investment in human resilience, fostering all healthier, more robust community for the future. When we talk of media and communication, it helps in shaping perceptions for change. We say that investments in media campaigns wield immense power, challenging stereotypes and fostering societal change. By strategically shaping narratives and showcasing diverse positive role models, these campaigns influence public perceptions. They create a ripple effect, challenging ingrained biases and promoting inclusivity. So through targeted messaging and compelling storytelling, such investments have the potential to reshape societal attitudes, breaking down barriers and fostering a more tolerant and accepting culture. In the digital age where media consumption is pervasive, strategic investments amplify the impact, driving meaningful conversations and fostering a more inclusive and diverse narrative. So we'll talk of community-based intervention, local solutions for lasting impacts. We are saying that by investing in grassroots organizations, it's very crucial for fostering meaningful change. These initiatives directly connect with local communities, addressing specific needs and amplifying voices often unheard. Unlike top-down approaches, grassroots efforts empower communities to shape their own destinies, promoting inclusivity and sustainable development. These investments catalyze bottom-up transformations, creating a ripple effect of positive change that resonates at the heart of society. Supporting these endeavors not only addresses immediate challenges, but builds a foundation for long-term, community-driven progress, fostering resilience and self-determination. In essence, channeling resources into grassroots initiatives is an investment in the authentic, enduring betterment of society. By institutional and policy changes, creating a conducive environment, we are saying that it plays a pivotal role in fostering a conducive environment for societal progress. By adapting regulations and organizational structures, government can stimulate economic growth, encourage innovation, and address pressing challenges. Striking a balance between stability and flexibility is key. So, with effective policies, we promote inclusivity, sustainability, and social justice, fostering an environment where businesses thrive and citizens flourish. Transparent and accountable institutions enhance public trust, reinforcing the foundation of a robust society. As global dynamics evolve, continuous adaptation of policies ensures resilience and responsiveness, creating an environment conducive to positive development and collective well-being. Then we talk of the international collaboration, global unity against gender-based violence. So, by investing in diplomatic endeavors and forging international partnership is crucial for a unified global approach. Diplomacy plays a pivotal role in averting misunderstandings that could escalate into tensions or wars. Collaborations between nations not only foster stability, but also allow the pooling of resources and expertise to address common challenges. In our interconnected world, addressing issues like climate change, public health crisis, and economic instability necessitates coordinated efforts. Diplomatic ties facilitate the exchange of knowledge and technology, fostering mutual growth. Moreover, joint efforts in security enhance global peace by addressing transnational threats more efficiently. Essentially, these investments establish a framework for nations to cooperate, paving the way for a more harmonious and prosperous world. In conclusion, talking of a holistic approach for a violence-free future, we say effective and lasting change hinges on the interplay of interconnected factors. Strategic resource allocation coupled with a collective commitment is paramount. Allocating resources wisely ensures targeted efforts, while collective commitment fosters a unified front, essential for sustained transformation. In our interconnected world, addressing issues, I think I've said that. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So I say thank you for supporting a future where women and girls thrive without fear. Together, let's build a society that fosters safety, equality, and empowerment for every individual. Your commitment matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Ambassador
you.
RONKE, for this presentation. We have missed you to present it yourself, but I think I have tried to bring it to the fore. Have I?
You tried.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, so we
Beauty,
go
how
next.
are you?
So we go next
Sorry to
to
interrupt, ma.
our second panelist,
Continue.
Dr. Adefunke Ekine. Please, can we have our slides? She has the floor.
Yeah, thank you. I hope everyone can hear me. Please let me know by show of hands if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much, Dr.
We can hear you, ma.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. I would like the slides to be shown. Yes. First and foremost, I want to thank the people that organized this. I'm a member, but for them inviting me to share my wealth of experience in 15 minutes. Thank you very, very much. I want to also recognize one of my mentors who just joined from the United States, Professor Olufunke Mujubaola. I salute you, ma, and I thank you for mentoring and for being interested in girls and women empowerment. My assignment this evening is actually to talk to us in the aspect of education, investing in education and empowerment to eliminate violence against women and girls. If you listen to the first presenter, you'll see that she talked about the holistic approach. She talked about so many other things, but I'm been asked to zero in importance of education. I said it's no longer news that there is violence everywhere and it is on the rise. And one of the things I want to bring to our notice is that the violence actually is even from early years. And so that's an important aspect that I want us to take home this evening. Most times when we talk about violence against women and girls, we look at intimate partner violence, we look at violence in universities or higher education or secondary school, but I want us to look at the violence that actually starts right within the home, within the crèches, within the school system that affects children. So 1 year ago, exactly 1 year ago in New York, Yasmin Sharif, the director of Education Cannot Wait, said something, and I want to paraphrase what she said. As we now have entered the 21st century, we must end violence against girls and women. Attacking and abusing girls and women as a means of warfare, the war machinery, or domestic violence as a result of crisis, she said, is absolutely abhorrent and unacceptable. And I thank God that most organizations globally were actually speaking out to make sure that this thing is stopped. Exposing half of the world's population to the risk of violence because of the agenda, she said, is not only a violation of international and domestic laws, she said, but it's disgraceful and a brute streak of our very own humanity. The next slide. As we know, just a recap, violence takes various forms, and we have physical violence, sexual violence, emotional, verbal, neglect, and deprivation, especially for children. And we see that violence occurs in nearly everywhere. These days, in the home, in the churches, on the internet, at school, politically, everywhere. Violence is always nearly in every place. And one of the things that we found out that violence occurs from people that are known to the victims. From the research I've been carrying out in the last 3 years and other researches that people have done, the people that actually commit this violence are family members, peers, teachers, neighbors, very few strangers, religious leaders. The reason we need to know this is if we're talking about education, then we need to know who and who are we to educate, where exactly is the violence coming from. And as we know, violence not only inflicts harm and pain or humiliation on the victim, it can also lead to depression, suicidal thoughts, and it can eventually kill. The next slide. The sage Nelson Mandela said something. He said, freedom cannot be achieved unless the women have been emancipated from all forms of oppression. So we know that, and he equally said that education is the key, antidote for poverty and all forms of oppression. So as we've seen and we have been told and we have experienced, effects of violence are multidimensional. So that is why efforts by all organizations globally, nationally, is something that is welcome, because we all must stop this violence. As you see in that picture, it's an intertwining thing. It's something that is within, and most times we see just the outcome, but it's not only the outcome or what we see outside, it's even start from inside. So it's multidimensional, and if we do not stop it, the victim is always in an entangled form. And from one thing, emotional disturbance to medical disturbance to psychological disturbance. So the effect of violence are multidimensional. The next slide, please. I wouldn't want to dwell more on this, but because we're talking about educating people as a means of stopping violence, we need to see and to understand the effect of violence on women and girls. The African Union 2063 agenda said that gender is a strong determinant of public policy outcomes. And it says that if we're able to eliminate gender inequality, it will raise the productive potential of 1 billion Africans, delivering a huge boost to the continent's developmental potential. So when we talk about eliminating violence against girls and women, we'll see that it's something that economically we will benefit, apart from the victim being set free and being released from oppression. So education has been said to be a major tool of ending violence. It is said that it has a large impact on reducing gender-based violence. And research has shown that with a high level of education, especially from secondary school upwards, that girls and women become empowered and knowledgeable about their rights and privileges, and so they can eliminate or stop at least violence against them. If you want to read more about the paper I'm using, that's the reference. So our focus in this session of mine is that education is one of the best tools that we can use to protect girls and women from violence. And when we say education, what type of education? Who and who can we educate? Next slide. The next slide, yeah. I zeroed into the case study of Plan International. Plan International is a major organization, and they've been working on gender-based violence, and they found out that with secondary school education, that it provides a reducing effect on violence for women and girls. And some of the benefits that they found out is that when we educate girls and women and either educate them basically on rights and their privileges on so many things, but even providing simple education for them to be able to be literate, to be able to go to school, that secondary school education will increase their employment opportunities. You will agree with me that women are subject to violence when they don't have economic power, when they are not financially buoyant. They are prone to violence, gender-based violence. So they have greater confidence, they have wider social networks, they can talk about their life, they can share their lives, they have access to information and resources when they are educated. And so when someone is educated and have access to information and resources, the person can protect herself or can actually be a voice for others. And then when girls and women are educated, it provides a level playing field for everyone, and it reduces the unequal power between men and women, which is one of the root causes of gender-based violence. The next slide, please. So when we have women and girls educated, whether formally or informally, we'll see that gender-based violence can be reduced, if not totally eradicated. And I look at what are the kinds of forms of education that we should advocate for, or that we should practice, or that some are doing that we can encourage. One is sexuality education in our school system, and right from the cradle. A lot of people will say that, well, as Africans, you shouldn't do this because you are just bringing Western world or Western information. No, as a teacher and an educator, I found out that when girls and women from primary school are taught about their rights and privileges, about their body, their sexual nature and things, they'll be able to have power over their body, and they can actually say no to perpetrators, and they can become a voice. So sexuality education should be brought into our school system right from the primary school. When we talk of education, like we're doing now, we're enlightening ourselves about things. We should have advocacy, sensitization programs, and use all forms of media, especially when it comes to people in the villages and in the marginalized areas. So we should have advocacy and sensitization programs that talks about the prevalence and the effect, the long-term and the short-term effect of gender-based violence and the root causes of it through media and in all languages, especially our local languages, on the media, in the radio, everywhere. We should educate community. We should have community engagement, because these are the gatekeepers. In our community, we have the leaders, we have the people that we call the gatekeepers. So these people, we cannot eliminate gender-based violence if we do not educate the gatekeepers. In some instances, the gatekeepers may be even women themselves, the women leaders, the traditional leaders, the religious leaders, the school authorities, the people that are taking decisions. So we must take our education from not only the classroom structure to the informal settings, that is even in the community. And then we should do a lot of public awareness. People are doing public awareness, but we should increase the awareness through the print media and the mass media. And I say, who do we educate? First and foremost, education, we should educate the women and the girls themselves. Why do we say we should educate the women and girls about the prevalence, the effect, and the root causes? Because in some instances, I found out that the women actually are the ones that perpetrate the violence, or they are the ones that make the girls to keep quiet. There's the culture of silence. And at times, because of stigmatization, because of the name of the perpetrators, because of family issues, they'll just say, please, let's keep quiet. We shouldn't let them know that our name will be spoiled and all those. So we should educate women leaders, market women, everyone, to let them see that when we do harm to the women and the girls, we are perpetrating this, and they should be part of the to help eradicate this. Then the girls, as I mentioned earlier on, I work with the primary school children because I found out from literature and from research that the university students that we meet that have been victims of rape and all those, and they found out that some of them actually were raped when they were 6 years old, when they were 5-year-old, by their uncles or by the drivers or people around them, and they couldn't talk because they're children. So I decided to start bringing out this issue about talking to girls and making children to be aware of their sexuality, aware of their power, aware of their rights, and becoming a force to be able to rise up and say no to the perpetrators around them and become a protective agency around themselves. Then we need to educate men and boys, because when we talk about gender-based violence, well, we know that men and boys too are violated these days, but mostly the men are the perpetrators, the boys are the perpetrators. So we should let them see and let them know. If a man is educated, then the man will be able to protect the sisters, the wives, and the daughters around him or her. And if the boys knows that, look, it is a collective responsibility, then they serve as protectors of the women in their area of influence. So we cannot eradicate gender-based violence if we do not bring the boys and the men to the table where they discuss. And the way we need to let them know is that, look, these are the effects, and this should be stopped. And you can do this much you can do. Assuming this person is your daughter, assuming the girl that was raped is your sister, what will you do? So when we bring these facts before them, then they'll stop covering up or stop saying it's part of the inequality in power. You know, they'll be able to see it, because gender-based violence has been linked to inequality of power, and so that is one of the things. So we need to break the silence of the culture of silence, and we need to bring the men to the table. As I said the other time, the community leaders, the religious leaders, especially the religious leaders. Well, we know that Nigeria is a very religious country. We all belong to one faith or the other, but we should bring these people to the table and let them know. They should use their pulpits, their religious organizations, and their own religious houses to talk about gender-based violence, to talk about the effect it has on girls and women, and to talk about the ripple effect, the long-term effect, and why we are damaging the victims, and what we should do to the perpetrators. They should not sit down and cover and use religion as a cover and say women should be in silence or we should not talk. And well, the last slide that I have there, because I was told it's just 15 minutes, is that for me, it's a call to action. We may be doing some little things there and there, but we need to continually work together. It's a collective responsibility. We need the educators, we need the religious leader, we need the community. We need to educate people. We need to talk and keep talking and keep talking and keep talking, and letting them see the damage that gender-based violence does to the girls and the women, not only psychologically, even economically, and to the society as a whole. And as long as half of the society are not being heard, are not being given a freedom, then we all are not free. So I just want to say thank you for listening. And I hope I've been able to just say something about, well, this slide, sorry, it's supposed to come before the last one. What do we teach? We teach the root causes, we teach the policies, we teach the traditional norms that are endangering our lives, and we teach gender equality. These are things that we should teach, both in the school, the root causes of structural violence and direct violence. I want to acknowledge someone that I picked this from a slide, and that is a professor that just did an inaugural lecture. I saw this in our work that was shared by Professor Okome to me, and I said, it's tallies with what I'm saying. These are some of the things we should teach when we're teaching, when we're saying we're educating. We should talk about our cultural norms that are against equality, our ideology, our social and political structures that ingrain injustice and inequality, and all the things that are related to interpersonal relationship that often empower inequality and empower men to actually cause harm to ladies and to girls. I think the next slide, I'll finish. So sorry, the slide was supposed to come before the last. The call to action is supposed to actually be the last slide. That I want everyone to know that we all can teach, we all can educate, we all can influence wherever we are. Education is power, education is transformative, education is life-changing. When a woman or a girl is empowered with knowledge, she can decide, she can say no to our perpetrators, and she can become a force to reckon with. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Associate Prof. ADEFUNKE at EKINE. That was beautiful. Thank you very much, Ma. You have said it all. Education is key. It is transformation. It is power. And I pray that we'll be able to pass through this barrier that we are finding so difficult in our country, especially for the girl child. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. I hope we are having an impactful time. Let me call on the next panelist, none other than Chief Izuchukwu Ago Remi. Is he online? Let him come and tell us his own side, his own perspective. Is he on? Is he on the floor, please? Chief Izuchukwu, please, are you on the line?
Yes, he's on the floor. But he's not joining with an audio, so we can't really hear him.
He should pick his
Just
audio
go to his
now.
mic and open his mic. Exactly.
Chief Izuchukwu, please check your joining mic and click on Wi-Fi that pops up, please, so we can hear you. Chief Izuchukwu, please, you have the floor. Can you hear us? Please, let's hold on. I think he's having some issues with his mic. While we wait, does any one of us have any contributions to what has been given so far?
I have a comment.
Okay, please, ma'am, please introduce yourself. You have the floor.
Okay, I'm Professor Mojuba Olufunke Okome, and I teach political science and women's studies at Brooklyn College City University of New York.
You're welcome, ma'am. We're glad
Thank
to
you
have
very
you.
much. So my question is, what is the role of law in ensuring that when violence against girls and women is perpetrated, that the perpetrators are prosecuted and punished? The real issue for me is that I think Nigeria has this Violence Against People's Act or something. To what extent is that law and laws about the rights of children, to what extent are they enforced effectively in Nigeria? That's one part. The second part is, I'm glad that stakeholders, there's the suggestion that stakeholders should be engaged and that there should be advocacy that tries to bring in gatekeepers and stuff. But some of the stakeholders and gatekeepers are perpetrators, For example, there's clergy. There have been cases in the news about pastors that are perpetrators of sexual abuse, and their churches support them. I haven't seen many cases of them being really punished, and there's a lot of pressure on the survivor or victim to kind of step back because these are people of God. So how do you really soundly address this kind of problem? And then when it's prominent people, when it's very wealthy people, the same kind of attitude happens. So how do you really address this?
Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Does anyone have the answer to Prof's question or comment?
One more thing. I love what Dr. EKINE said about starting from primary school in educating children about, their body, their rights and sexuality. But there's a lot of opposition in Nigeria by parents who don't want anybody to talk to their children about sex, who see sex education as a problem. So how do you break through that kind of resistance? Practically,
Yes, ma'am. Does anyone want to contribute to what is on the floor?
Well, my coordinator, maybe I should just, okay, somebody's raising up the hand. I want to talk about the sexuality education. Sometimes last year, the National Assembly passed a law that sexuality education should be included in secondary school. I don't think it has come down to the primary school. one of the things that is because people are not well informed, and then they think that when you expose children to this education, it makes them vulnerable, it makes them promiscuous, and all. That's not what I'm preaching or what I'm advocating for. What we are advocating for is a knowledge that gives them power to be able to own their body and to be assertive and to be able to say, this is how far you can go. You cannot touch me here, and I can report you. And so when they, and then these other knowledge about the culture of silence. So I know that there have been a lot of resistance, but last year there was something at the National Assembly concerning inclusive sexuality education in secondary school upwards. So but when it comes to the legal issues, maybe the lawyers in the House will give us.
Thank you so much, Ma. Yes, Mrs. Ufoma, you have the floor.
Hello, can you hear me?
Mrs. Ufoma, okay. Oh, I thought it's Ufoma. Okay.
Is it showing Ufoma? Okay, maybe I need to name it properly. Okay. This is Dr. Bright.
Dr. Bright, yes.
Okay. Well, I want to add to the question that was asked by virtue of us trying to work on the admission of criminal justice law. And we also know that the VAP law is one of the instruments that has been in place to try some of the perpetrators of this violence against persons. But the challenge is most of the laws that we have, they've not been tested. And so because they've not been tested, some persons don't even know whether they exist or how effective those laws will be. And one of the things we are trying to look at, because even recently when we had a meeting with the Chief Judge of Edo State, one of the complaints or one of the issues that came up was the issue of witness compromise. You know, the violence against person is an offense against the state. Survivors are actually witnesses that will come and testify that so and so thing has happened. But for so many factors, they compromise. And by the time they compromise, the perpetrators don't face the law as expected. And the environment that we are in is, I don't want to use the term, but it is bedeviled by social, cultural, and religious sentiments. Why some persons will feel that pastors are so holy that they cannot do some of the things that they may have been accused of, some just feel is not right. So at the end, you see that either the victim, the survivor is blamed, either saying, oh, he didn't dress properly, or he tried to seduce the pastor, or so many other things. So they bring a whole lot of sentiments. And I think that's one of the things that we as stakeholders coming together should be able to look at. What are these factors responsible for this witness compromise? Because until people go to jail, people pay for the offense they've committed, it will not serve as deterrent to others. There was a pastor some time ago who committed an offense. When we got to the police station, the pastor was more or less like in the VIP session. It was when we got there, I said, why should this man be different from other persons who have committed an offense before they took him into the cell? So you can see that the environment that we are in is still seeing some persons still being as holier than, maybe they are above the law, but the challenge is witness compromise. People compromise a lot. You see somebody violated or assaulted, and the next thing, the pastor come in to start begging and so many other things. And before you know it, the person is telling you he or she is no longer interested in the case. Okay, just pay for treatment and let us be. And you as a CSO or maybe as a stakeholder, you cannot go and follow up that case on behalf of that person. The witness, the court again is not for that Christmas that we want to use third-party information to work. So we need to also come back to the society. Let them know the importance of this law and the implication of some of all those things. It's a big challenge that we must all stand up to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bright. Favor, you have something to add? Just 2 minutes. A minute, please, for that, please, so that we can move ahead. We have 2 more panelists to talk.
Okay,
Favor.
no problem, ma'am. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Sure, no problem. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been a wonderful conversation. So, speaking to the educating primary school students on sexual education, I think it is very important and it is very paramount. And I think the way we can be able to break that market or to penetrate into that is to be able to properly educate the parents on why these children need this information. And the fact is, I usually say in Sunday school when I'm teaching young children and, you know, young people, I usually say, you see, the world, you are all the information you need is accessible to you at the moment, right? And a lot of parents don't know. What they don't know is that if they don't teach these children these things, they will find out from somewhere else. And the information source they might get it from will totally corrupt them. So you as a parent, it is your duty to teach your children first before they get taught by a different source, so that the information you've given them doesn't get compromised by, or I mean, I don't know if you get me. So I feel like if we want to be able to target these children, we should properly educate the parents, let them know why this is important, and let them know that they should be the ones to provide this information firsthand, so that by the time these children go into the world and they find out, they would have been already taught by their parents, and then they will be able to balance and know what information is right and what's not. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Favor. Yes. Thank you so much. It's a very troubling situation we have in our hands. I don't know. We really need more fora to really check out how we can mitigate or navigate these problems. So let's move ahead. I don't think Chief Remy is online. Dr. Bright, please, can you take the floor so we can wrap up quickly?
Okay.
Dr. Bright, please. I think you can share his slides. Thank you.
Okay.
Close this door. Close this door.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
I'm delighted for us to be able to come together again to commemorate the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence 2023. I also look forward to a day that will come and we may not commemorate this because we have actually eliminated gender-based violence. But be that as it is, I'll be speaking on building safe and inclusive communities through local investments. You know, sometimes when we look at investments, the minds of people will go towards money. But yes, money is key, but we may also look at what the environment is. So when we look at, I will start with looking at safety and inclusiveness, because we're looking at building safe and inclusive communities through local investment. A safe place or environment is where a person or a category of people can feel confident that they will not be exposed to discrimination, criticism, harassment, or any other emotional or physical harm. A safe place is a place, could be physical or virtual, where you can go relax and recharge. It's also a judgment. Can that person mute his mic? It's also a judgment-free zone where you can let down your guard and truly be yourself. Because we also know that perpetrators of gender-based violence, they are not themselves. After they do something today and tomorrow they come and start telling you, oh, they're under the influence. Please, that noise is disturbing. An inclusive community does everything that it can to respect all its citizens, give full access to resources, and promote equal treatment and opportunity. The citizens feel safe, respected, and comfortable in being themselves and expressing all aspects of their identities. An inclusive community is a place where each person shares a sense of belonging with other members. Still on safe and inclusive community, a safe and inclusive community, it works to eliminate all forms of discrimination, as well as engages all its citizens in decision-making process that affect their lives. Because you see some communities, you see some things happening, people are not even aware of decisions that have been taken on top of them, and that's what you see in some homes when the man takes decision and the woman asks question, the man is asking, why would you ask such a question? A safe and inclusive community is a community where people can live, work, and play without fear of risk or injury. The defining features of a safe and inclusive community is the ability of all the citizens, regardless of gender, race, age, income, sexuality, language, or ability, to participate fully and freely in all of its environments. So whatever anybody wants to do, so long the person can do it, there is no need to tell the person, don't. We talked about education. If the girl child is interested in education, don't stop the girl child. So even persons with disability, there is no need discriminating anybody. So long they are ready, allow them. This requires that all citizens feel free and are safe, and that they are they have meaningful opportunities to participate in local decision making. In some communities where we come from, you could hear some men telling some ladies, now people like Unana would they find for them. You know, those are discriminatory terms. If the lady can do something, let them come out and do something. And it's something that is very glaring in our political space. They tell you that politics is not for women. A safe and inclusive community is one where we feel safe and welcome out in public, both day and night. One where women, children, seniors, and other vulnerable people would finally be safe from violence and abuse from the people they know, as well as from strangers. It's also a vibrant, diverse, and accessible community, one that has good services and infrastructure, one where our workplaces are free from violence and harassment. Workplace is a place where many people suffer gender-based violence in silence because they don't have economic power. And because they want to retain that their economic gain or benefit that they are having in that place, they wouldn't want to speak out despite facing challenges in the workplace. One where everyone is valued and there is no discrimination, where all resources, human, physical, and social, will be freed up for more productive uses. The question is, why should we invest in safety and inclusiveness? People really find it attractive and want to be part of a community that is safe and inclusive. That's a major benefit. It requires the community leaders and organizations to come together to plan, create programs that reduce injury and violence. I believe this community that we are in has such a plan. It improves community health and well-being. A safe and inclusive community has made a commitment to doing things that reduce risk while avoiding choices that increase the risk of injury. Hence, an appreciable level of investment is required to make this work. As we go on, we'll get to understand what some of these investments should be. Safety and inclusiveness has many different meanings for different people, depending on who we are and what our personal, economic, and social circumstances are, it is still a function of locals, that is the members, participants, as they interface with themselves. There's a popular place in Benin City, I'm speaking from Benin City, Ring Road, for example. Why some persons are comfortable doing their business in Ring Road, some persons are not, because they feel maybe they are not secure. It's because of their social class. So this gives a clear justification on why so much investment should be sourced and utilized locally for the benefit of building and sustaining a safe and inclusive community. How can we achieve our goals for safer and inclusive communities? Crime and victimization are the visible result of problems. The challenge is to address the root issues and increase support, or support the factors that offset the causes of violence. This means working to reduce the risk of offending and address the vulnerability of individuals and neighborhood. This approach recognizes the critical importance of prevention and the need to address factors of economic, political, and social inequality that lie at the root of crime, victimization, and fear. In building safe and inclusive communities, it is essential that the work for building safer communities is carried out at the local level and be guided by collaborative community-based process. If we are in community A, the locals, that is the members of that community, are the ones that will actually make that community safe. You don't expect somebody in community B to come and start making community A safe. So that also tells you that we must invest our time locally in the things that we are doing in our community. Local authorities are uniquely placed, to provide the leadership necessary for a sustainable, integrated community safety strategy that address women's personal security issues. A safe community is a livable community, a healthy community, and economically viable community. In some of the things we see, you see things like deprivation in the homes. Why? When a woman is deprived, automatically she's at the mercy of the person depriving her, and which means she has to now be subject to that particular person. Now, building and maintaining safer communities for women is a process that requires solid leadership, partnership efforts involving the whole community, meaningful community involvement that aligns the perspective of those most vulnerable to violence, a comprehensive process of inquiring about needs and issues, safety audits of community environment, and an integrated safety with supporting processes and mechanisms for implementing solutions. Now, I will be concluding here, and this is where the cross is. An analytical look at a safe and inclusive environment reveals that members of the community will be the ones to drive the whole process as well as benefit from it. They may find themselves at different levels of leadership or followership, but more realize that their roles and efforts have a direct relationship to the benefit that they will get. An environment that is safe and inclusive is attractive to all, while the reverse will consume all in a matter of time. If an environment is not safe, and the king of that community, for example, chooses not to look at the issues that are there, by the time the issues consume the inhabitant of that community and it's remaining in his palace, one day, that issue will step into his palace. So finally, local investment that begins with time. What we need to invest locally is this: time. We must take time out to see some of the things that are there. Ideas. We must bring ideas to bear that will help to address some of the challenges that we are facing. Social and cultural behavioral change. Most of the things that fuel gender-based violence in our communities, they are linked to social, they are linked to cultural, and some are even linked to religion. And for us to be able to move past this state, we should be ready to invest in behavioral change. We should be able to look at some cultures, some religions that are fueling gender-based violence for us to do away with it, irrespective of the benefit that we are going to get. Participation is key, because from time to time, we realize that people in the community, they don't want to participate. We may be creating an awareness on gender-based violence. People are not interested until the day that something happens to them. They are now looking for, oh, where is this CSO? Where is this person? Where is this person? By the time they participate, they learn, and they can know how to prevent. They can know how to act when the need arises. Let's say, for example, we don't expect cases of rape to come up, but some cases of rape has not been able to see the light of day in the court because the exhibits, the evidences has already been compromised. And just because the person does not know what to do at that point in time, that person has gone to compromise that evidence. And again, it may allow the perpetrator to go off the hook. So all these things should come from all members of the community at various levels and points. And it will bring about a safe and inclusive community for the benefit of all, especially the vulnerable ones. Money is good, but we must look at the things we want to invest our money on. So I want to thank you for your attention, and also want to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bright.
Thank you, sir.
Never fail. We always enjoy you anytime you come online. Thank you so much. A lot has been said today, I must add. And I know everybody's buzzing and buzzing to say one or two things. I'll allow for 4 persons to make their comments and contributions and questions. So let's move forward. Anybody? Is Chief Izuchukwu, is he ready? Is he online? It's like we've lost our third panelist, our last panelist. No worries. I think the other 3 panelists have actually trashed out most of the things that are heavy in our hearts. Won't you agree? So we have any contributions and comments, please signify with a show of hands so you can be recognized, please. So please, let me just ask a question. So in order to achieve sustainable and long-term impact, what are some strategies for securing funding and resources for violence prevention efforts against women and girls? And how can these efforts be effectively monitored and evaluated? Can anybody answer that question? Can anyone answer my question? Did you hear me? Did anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
So my question again is, in order to achieve sustainable and long-term impact, what are some strategies for securing funding and resources for violence prevention efforts against women and girls? And how can these efforts be effectively monitored and evaluated? Please, can anyone answer? Yes, Mama Taiwo Adebanjo. Ma, you have the floor. Hello, Mama Taiwo. Taiwo, please. You have the floor, ma.
Yes. Thank you very much. I've been trying to unmute. I think the most important thing is to carry the stakeholder in the community along in all that we are doing. in the prevention of gender-based violence. We need to educate them, because all these old beliefs is actually affecting all the efforts of the CSOs. So it makes people to be less interested. They don't see anything wrong in all these statistics, except for the very bad cases. Like when we say a man raped the wife, they look at it as, how can you rape your wife? Is she not your wife? Are you not married to her? You can imagine that, because that is the level of their knowledge. So we really need to educate people around us, the community stakeholders, even the women. What women causes is even more because of lack of knowledge. They don't know that they are being cheated, or what they are doing to them is, but not until it gets to the extreme, then they will now voice out. Even some will not even voice out. So education is still the major thing. We need people to be aware, to educate them, to carry them along in all that we are doing. And not just the community people alone, even our children from home. Immediately they can speak, immediately they can understand. We need to start to educate them in the language that they will understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama, for that question. For that answer. Brilliant. Thank you so much. I think Dr. Wright wants to add something. Dr. Bright.
Okay, what?
You have the
Yeah,
floor.
what I actually want to add in this regard is, like I mentioned when I was talking, I deliberately did not mention the issue of money. We need money, but many times I ask the question, what do you want to use the money for? Why don't you break the money into kinds? Break it down into kinds. Let's say, for example, you want to sensitize women and you need a hall. You need refreshments. You can reach out to somebody. Let the person not give you money for the hall. Let the person give you the hall. And the person making effort to give you that hall, the person is interested in what are you doing with that hall? What are you going to be discussing in that place? Because we actually need stakeholders to come on board. We want to go for outreach. You're telling somebody, you're not asking the person to give money for fuel. You're telling the person, please, can you volunteer your vehicle for us to go out? The person is interested, what are you going to do in that place? So if we actually want to see how we can help funding, I recommend, let's not always go in the hand of, let's get the cash. What we want to do with the money, let's itemize them. Let the people know how they can come in kind. And if they are coming in, before you know it, they are already participating. But if you tell me now that, oh, I need 100,000, I may tell you I don't have. But if you tell me now that, oh, please, can you bring your car? We want to go to a particular community. That may stimulate my interest. So those are some of the areas, strategies we can look out to, break down to the units what we want to do with funding, and those things that may come in kind could stimulate the interest of people. I can give you, like I used to tell people, I can give you a bag of rice because I can pick a bag of rice from somebody and pay the person later. But I may not be willing to want to go and borrow money for a particular exercise. So for us as advocates, we are going to be working in local communities. We're looking out to the local indigenous. Let's also look at the resources available that we can leverage on in that locality that we can get in kind to help people. Thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. Bright. I think that's a brilliant strategy, because you find that most activities that NGOs and CBOs are after is everybody's always complaining of money, funding. And one tries to sit down and say, if we start looking for this money, are we going to be able to do any tangible activity or have an impact in our various societies? So I like the strategy, getting your resources in kind, which we have always tried to advocate.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. National chairperson, ma.
I was trying to say the community-based organizations still need money, especially Well, okay, let's say a
Yes, ma, I
scenario
know that.
for
Yes,
us that
definitely you need
respond
money.
to
I
gender
know.
to. No,
Yes,
see, no,
ma.
I'm just trying to use this scenario of like now there is this case that you need to follow up on. You need to go to the hospital to get your tests done. So you still
Yes.
the community-based organizations, they still need money to mitigate issues of gender-based violence. That's what I'm just trying to add.
Yes, ma, I totally agree with you, ma. I totally agree with you. We're just saying that most times NGOs and CBOs, community-based organizations, really tend to hinge more on having the money physically before they embark on anything, which we're trying to dissuade them from having that
Yes,
attitude.
yes, those
That's what
community
I'm saying.
outreaches and activities, I understand.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am. Okay. So there again, what role can the private sector, because each and every one of us, we tend to dwell so much on government funding, going to meet the various state actors. So what role can private sector organizations and businesses play in investing to prevent violence against women and girls? And how can partnership with private sector be effectively developed and sustained? That's another question for me. And I call it a day. Who can answer that, please?
My national
Well,
coordinator.
okay, sorry. Okay.
I just wanted to bring this in. I appreciate what Dr. Bright has said, and leveraging on that, I would say that if CSO and community organizations, if we start out by evaluating our impacts or doing impactful outreaches in whatever level that we do, and then reporting on disseminating this to this organization through a pamphlet, through maybe talking on radio, do some things that people will know what you are doing, and letting them see how it relates to their services. Let me give an example. Procter and Gamble in Ibadan, we did something on menstrual hygiene with some other SCSO in secondary schools. And so we went to them and we said we needed sanitary pad for the girls, and they gave us a little. We donated, we got money together as CSO, we bought from them, and then they gave us more. So what I'm saying is that if we look at what Dr. Bright has said, most times it's not that people, they may want to help, but they may not have the physical cash. And then when you want somebody to help you, they'll ask you, what exactly have you brought to the table? It's not the day you start that you start getting funding. But the more you are passionate and you do, and people see your success story, they see what you are doing, then you will see that referrals will come. Somebody may just say, okay, that organization is doing something. Can you come and leverage on this network? The other thing is that we start from our relationship. Community organizations and the CSOCB, they need to have relationship with all these the donor agency or the sponsor or the person you want to go and meet. There must be a relationship. If you are having a campaign, as Dr. Bright has said, and you've called a philanthropist in your area to come and just witness, you are empowering 20 girls or empowering 20 women, and you call the person just to come and see, be a guest or a speaker. Next year when you want to do, the person has seen what you have done. So when you now send a letter, the person would say, no, I know these people, they are truthful. So integrity matters. We should leverage on what we can do first and keep doing it until help comes. And then there are organizations that specifically, they are interested in specific projects. We need to build our capacity as CSO to be able to write successful grants. It's not every time that you write a grant that you win. But we need to build our capacity. We need to be detailed. We need to be ready for accountability. And, a lot of people are not ready for such things. But we need to, so that we'll be able to get
because everybody is looking for grants.
Yes. So we need to be ready to be accountable for. If somebody gives you 5,000, let the person know this is what the 5,000
What to use the 5,000 for?
Yes. We run a community library in my organization for secondary school students to just come and read. There's a family for 2 years, they just give us 5,000 naira to buy books, textbooks. And when we buy it, we scan the receipt to them of the books that we have bought. And it got to a point that they say, don't scan any receipt to us again. We know you are buying it. So as simple as just that, it's just 5,000 they give us. On the first of the month, the 5,000 we drop in our account. So you can imagine,
yes,
if you have 100 people, if you have 100 people giving your organization 5,000,
5,000, that's a lot. Yes.
So we need to just repackage and re-strategize and see at what we do, and are we really impacting lives, especially women and girls. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. Yes, Miss Christiana, I see your hands.
Okay, yeah, good evening, ma. Good evening, everyone.
Good
My
evening.
name is Christiana Ezugu, and I would just like to add something I feel is very important based on my observations so far. So most times we, in the civil society space, we go for high-level meetings with people from the ministries. And we end up having conversations, and in practical terms, nothing is really being done. I realized that in our institutions, from both primary to secondary to the tertiary education system, we do not have, most institutions don't have directorate of gender, which I feel should be an important directorate in schools that would help to, mitigate this issue of gender-based violence. Most times, students don't have a good working relationship with their teachers. And at the same time, if there are people that work in these directorates, the ministries of education could assign people to, form these directorates in the schools such that the young people can find confidence in trusting these people to confide in them issues that are facing in the schools. Because when I had my IT in the secondary school, there are times when students will come complaining of the kind of things they experience with their male counterparts, and the teachers will just wave it all off because they feel they're not being paid well enough to actually even teach in classroom. How much more concern themselves with other priority areas that are not in their interest. And we know that most of these staff, they are not people that are very well grounded on issues like this. So if we have people that the ministries could send to schools, not necessarily living in the schools or being full-time staff, they may not necessarily be teaching staff, but people that are well informed, people that have that knowledge to actually tackle these issues and present them to the tables where these discussions can actually be tackled correctly, such that these young people, whenever they are faced with challenges, even from home, they can communicate and expect that whatever they communicate will be addressed. And then in times like this, these directorates can take it as a burden upon themselves to educate parents through the PTA meetings on sexualities of their children, letting them understand that these things are very important conversations that should keep on going on, both at family level and at societal level, such that everybody will be carried along, both parents, both teachers, at the same time, members of the society, because not just one person trains a child. The child is being trained by the community. So this is just my contribution.
Thank you, Christiana, for that very good contribution. So you are advocating that the school system should have a directorate of gender, if I'm correct. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. I can see Honorary Reno. Sorry, I hope I've not murdered the name. Please, you have the floor. Can I call the person Reno? Reno. Merino.
Yes, so I'm here. Sorry, it's Scholastica.
Okay, Scholar.
Yeah,
now your name be this one when I want to break my mouth. So sorry.
Sorry. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for that wonderful talk. Yeah, I wanted to ask a question. I wanted to know please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I wanted to know what role does the media play in shaping prescriptions for GBV?
What role does media play
Yeah.
in shaping GBV?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone to answer? I think that this thing was taken care of from the first speaker's slide. She has a slide on that based on media. I think I saw that in one of her slides. The first panelist. Does anyone have any contribution or to answer her question?
Well, I think it's important to
Professor
engage
Professor
media.
Moju, okay. Okay. Moju Baolu, yeah. Yes, please, ma.
It's important to engage the media, but I have to say that the media is often responsible for stereotypical information and images that don't frown on gender-based violence. So the CSOs and CBOs and faith-based organizations that want to address gender-based violence as a problem need to engage the media and give them good information. Plus, I live in the US, I've lived here for 42 years. I think that the government of Nigeria at all levels also needs to engage this matter seriously. I heard what Dr. EKINE said about the National Assembly, but I don't think Nigerian institutions, and by this, the government institutions, are serious in addressing this matter. I don't think even our communities are serious, because a lot of times, either the matter is shoved under the carpet, or it is trivialized, or the survivor or the victim is blamed, So I think that we all, I liked what Dr. EKINE says, everybody is involved. We all must advocate, we all must do whatever we can. So informing the media and then becoming friends with them so that they come to the events that you have and they disseminate the right kind of information is important. So media education is also important, because I think there's a lot of unprofessional media people in Nigeria, and they're not well paid. So the brown envelope motivates them more than the interest in informing the public, which is their real role. I also think that, when I say the government needs to get involved, Nigeria doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. We can learn from other places where things are going, where things are being done better. So learn the international best practices and try to adopt them within the limits of our own resources is important. And I'm appalled by the fact that government people want to be spending money on cars and all these things, and a lot of the social programs are neglected, especially when it comes to children. Everybody will say children are our future. What are we doing to build this future is a question.
Exactly. Big question.
So I also think that when people become victims and they have survived this trauma, who is holding their hand? This is, if you're going to go through the legal process, it is an expensive and time-consuming and very traumatic process. So who is holding their hand to make sure that they don't succumb to the pressure to drop the case? They are not intimidated by these powerful people who do all kinds of terrible things and want to get away with it. And here again, the media is important. The way the media presents the case is very important. And if we are operating with a brown envelope situation, the person who pays might be the person who is perpetrating the injustice, and then the news will be steered in their favor. So, there's a lot of struggle in Nigeria. I like the presentations, but I want us to know that this is a huge problem. and that there's need for tenacity, there's need for resources. I think accountability when you get funding from any source is important. But I dare say also people are not generous enough in Nigeria to support
exactly
that should be supported without people making too much wahala. You know.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
a lot
I
of
agree
these international, these multinational corporations, Procter & Gamble should not have collected money from Dr. Ekine's organization. The amount of money they're making from Nigeria, they should be able to give donations of these things. And here in the US, they do. So, you know, there's a need for consciousness on many different levels. We're not doing well enough because it doesn't seem as if we put enough value into on the lives of women and girls. And we need to change all this behavior. So the international, what do you call them? The multinational corporations, shame on them. They need to do more. They need to do better. Nigerian government needs to do more and better. Let them stop buying useless cars and traveling all over the place and take care of our people. Because it's what you put into the people that makes a great nation.
Thank you very much, Ma. I really, really, really agree with you on that note. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and the last person, Taiwo, Mama Taiwo, are you on? I'm seeing your hands. I think that would be the last person. We have done so well. Thank you, participants, so far for staying on with us. I hope we have really enjoyed. Okay, Dr. Bright, sorry.
That I put on before, please.
Okay, Dr. Bright, you have the floor.
Okay, I want to quickly state one thing here because we as CSOs and stakeholders, we definitely know that resources is something that is very, very scarce. Unlike like our mama mentioned, the US, the difference is quite much compared to what we have in Nigeria. Now, if we look at the SDG, I think that's number 17, it's talking about partnership, synergy, and collaboration. And I think that's one area that if we have to actually tackle this issue of gender-based violence, is something that we as CSO, we must wake up to. Let's say, for example, ERIS is in Delta State, and there's an issue she needs to address here in Benin or even in Sokoto, wherever. Instead of her to pay transport with all the attendant risk and whatever, if there is somebody in Sokoto there or in Benin, what you just do is do a message, pass the information across to the person, and the person goes. It is cheaper, it is better, and it's even much more sustainable. But again, many times CSOs want to be heard individually, and if we have to do that, it will not help us. We should focus more on the goal that we want to achieve more than publishing our name. Yes, it's good that people get to hear about us, but consider this work, the quest to say, oh, it is me or it is Magdalena that did it, has made so many of us to lose some of the milestones that we would have achieved. So we must be ready to collaborate with every stakeholder to ensure that these issues go up. It will also surprise you, like some time ago, we went to the police station in the police clinic in Benin, and we told them that, please, we're having these cases and these are challenges. You know, they took special interest in cases of gender-based violence, assault, and so many other things, rape, you know, to give them the necessary support. And they were also even willing to go to the station, to go to the court to go and testify. So for me, there is nothing that partnership and collaboration cannot do. And I will just chip in something for the media. Yes, the media has a very big role to play. Even what we are doing now is a form of media technology that has to do with media. We as CSO, we should also be able to give the media the information that they need to push about us. Some of us, we have programs. There's nothing wrong having a one-page document speaking about that program that you can give to the journalists. It will go a long way for them to make reference instead of them reporting what they feel or whatever thing that they have. So I think I have to stop here. Madam Iris, money is necessary, but I'm still interested in what the money will be used for. Let's collaborate together. If 5 of us come together, you give me hall, I bring public address system, this one brings water, this one brings this. Before you know it, we have done what we needed to do. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you again, Dr. Bright. This has been really interesting. I wish I could go on and on and on, but I pray you that we need to close now. It has been a very long day. Ladies and gentlemen, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the virtual participants at this Unite panel discussion. Let me list them, please. Abiodun Subar, Adefunke Ekine, our panelists, Adesola Adesokon, Beauty Elo, Dr. Bright, another of our panelists, Edema Oganovo, Edmond Oka, thank you so much for being part of us. Ejiro Betty, Favor Ajagbe, Humphrey NWABUZO, Imoni, thank you so much, my dear, for coming. Our chairperson is still with us online, none other than Professor Olumana Josephine. Thank you, Ma, for being on with us. Professor Moju, thank you so much, Ma, for coming all the way from America to join us. Mosumola Grace, thank you. Obehi, Olufuke Fowler, Scholastica, Precious Agu, thank you for coming. Taiwa Debanjo, thank you. Ufoma Akobi, thank you. Azuna Emele, thank you. Grace Ese Obakina, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being part of this very auspicious occasion. Your engagement, insights, and enthusiasm have enriched our collective understanding. Thank you for contributing to a thought-provoking and impactful session. Thank you so much, and happy celebrations. I wish that you all have a successful outing throughout this period, November 25th to December 10th. Thank you so much. The recording of this event will place on our platform and even on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it. And now for our closing formalities, can anyone give us a word of prayer so we can close? Thank you so much. But before we go, can we have a photo shoot? Can we put on our cameras so that we can snap quickly before our closing prayer? Can we all put on our cameras, please? IT, please, can you snap us? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can we have our cameras on? Or we are all on 90s. We don't want to be shown on the cameras. Please now, let's see your fine faces. IT, please, if you can do it in batches, let's go.
It's very dark where I am, so you won't be able to see me.
Okay, but I hope you have your...
Here, so you won't see
Hey,
me.
Nigeria.
No light here,
Oh my
no
God.
light.
Hey, okay. IT, please just snap. Let's have their names seen and their logos and faces. Thank you so much for coming on board. Hope to see you again.
I've taken a snapshot.
You have taken? Thank you so much. So please, can someone just give us a word of prayer? Word of prayer by anyone, please.
In Jesus' name. Everlasting
Amen.
Father, we appreciate you. We thank you for this opportunity, for this privilege, for even giving us the grace to be useful to mankind. Accept our thanks and praises in Jesus' name. We thank you for the celebration. Lord, as we are departing, the grace to do more, grant it unto us in Jesus' name. We are praying that
Amen.
guide and direct her so that she will direct the whole group to your glory. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a lovely weekend ahead. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye.